Hello, Klaus.
Hello, Robert. Hello, audience.
Hi. Yeah,
welcome to our last episode in this year.
Yeah.
The the Christmas special. Sorry, the Christmas special, as every year, about some free questions. No specific topic. We will talk about if we have enough questions from you. We will talk about them. Otherwise, we will have a bit of a review of the last of the year. And yes.
Yeah, so this is episode 41, our Christmas episode, and we started last year with doing our December episode, under the Q&A topic that we just answer your questions. And in the German session today, we had a lot of questions. We could not all answer. Now we have also the first question already, so it's up to you. Please feel free to put in your questions, your topics, your discussion points. Must not be a question, can also be a statement or a point you'd like to discuss with us into the question box of the GoToMeeting. And we will go one after another and discuss it with you.
We also say in the last episode that it's possible to send us some questions per mail before.
In advance?
In advance, yes. And so we have one. So I guess we can start with there.
That's
the question.
We should be in favor or we should start with the questions that we have in advance. From Christine. Christine sent us an email and asked us about a question about IFC. Is it possible and how to rotate an IFC file when exported in RELUX? As this file gets important with the right north directions, etc. It can be difficult to use EasyLooks in the rooms as they are diagonal. Good question. With our new IFC feature, and if you import an IFC in RELUX Desktop, there's no option to rotate the complete building, so it's orientated according north or whatever the IFC creator had rotated to this. So this is not an easy question and not a feature which we have at the moment to rotate the IFC. It's possible to do something with the, how it's called in English, the grid of the user.
No, the working plane.
The working plane.
I guess the translation in RELUX Desktop is working plane. Okay. And you can rotate it, and it's a very useful, very powerful tool. But it has a little bit one problem. It will not be used in the context of the EasyLooks, and that is what Christine's missed when she imported them. So I guess we have put this on our feature list, and we will take care that we fix this or optimize this in one of our next versions.
Yeah. So this is something we need to add to RELUX Desktop to allow to have the working plane, the user working plane, also used in the EasyLooks. So it's possible to move and to manual place luminaires with this own rotated grid or work plane, the operation field, but is not used in EasyLooks. This is a pity, and we need to fix this.
Yes. Yeah. And also, it may be helpful that we have built in a tool for adjusting rooms when we have imported them, so that you can later say in which direction it should be displayed when you are in the room view where you work on the room with the EasyLooks and all the other programs. So it may be helpful if we have this not only for the IFC, if we also have it for each kind of import, since from Recat, since from directly from Revit or some site, when the rooms are not adjusted in the way which is useful for the light planning in the context of the RELUX Desktop.
Yeah, it would be in our favor if each room with its own room coordinate system is aligned to the normal coordinate system, that you have it all even. Would be nice. And the floor plan, of course, they have a relation between the rooms, and the room should have an angle and rotation in relation to the floor or on the floor itself. This would be nice. We have to deal with multiple coordinate systems. and to do normal operations in a room, it's always nice to have the room orientated. And if you have a complete floor, to have it oriented, also nice. But of course, reality is not orientated. So in reality, we need to deal with different locations and orientations, and this is reflected quite good if you have multiple coordinate systems. So we would like to have a coordinate system for the floor and one coordinate system for the room, and both with different orientations. Not to make it overcomplicated, but this would be nice to have as a designer. And in Redux, you have at least two ways of coordinate systems to deal with. In CAD applications like AutoCAD, you have to deal, or you can deal, this is a feature, with multiple coordinate systems, which is also, if you getting used to it, if you are into this topic, this is really quite nice to operate these applications if you be aware in what coordinate system you are, and work with these different orientations and also scalings. Okay, good. Then let's go to the questions we had get in the session. How come the ULOR was changing in the last couple of months between 0 and 0.00 percentage, zero session example? The question aims to understand why it's used to be without A or around October. So there suddenly was and now it's gone again.
I can, yes, I can say some words about it. So this is a little bit, in the beginning, or some times ago, we have used for the ULR value as a ratio, as a factor inside of it, and it was displaced with 2 decimal signs. That means, in the context to percent, that it is rounded to percent, to full percent. And then we implemented the obtrusive light. In the obtrusive light, we have some requirements from the standards, from the C150 and also for the other ones. And they told to show as a percent value, not to a factor between 0 and 1. So use a percent value from 0 to 100%. And in some standards, I guess in the CA150, it is mainly indirect, like to have to round it to 1 decimal sign. In the other standards, like the sports standard, 1392, is it?
1293.
Yes. Yeah. And also in the 12464 part 2 for exterior lights, obtrusive light, it is, if you take a look there, you have the feeling they mean it in percent values, in full rounded to full percent. We have now, some weeks ago, we have changed this now so that it's all the time it's displaced in complete percent. If you work with the obtrusive light tool, it will be used by the standard you have chosen, or you have also the possibility to control how many decimal sign it will be displaced. If you work without the obtrusive light option, then you will have a complete percent, so that it is similar to this as it was the time before. Okay, so that's what I say about this.
And really nice and easy answer. Yeah, rounding and how many decimal parts you have is really complicated. Could be really complicated. Must not be complicated, but it could be really complicated. For a lot of stuff, we have options, so it might make sense to check the settings on the output. We have a lot of options to bend it in your direction, but not for all. And ULR was not able to do this.
But it's mostly problematic in the standard. So in some standard, it's written how you have to calculate it. In other standards, it's more like indirect. You see what is printed in the standard, and then you have the feeling you should round it in this or in this style. And also, it's a little bit problematic because it's related to the value. You cannot say, I will all my numbers. We have an old option about rounding for tables or something like that, about how many decimal places, without taking care what kind of result. But in the most cases of the result overviews, you have different kind of values, and for that, it is a little bit. Each value has his own rules how you should round it, that you have the optimal ways. For
And-
example, the UGR value
Yeah.
with a decimal sign, without a decimal sign.
Good example. In general, we try to stick to the standard. So if a standard tells us how to round and how many decimal numbers we should display, then we do it. And if you have tables or if you have sample values in the standards, we also stick to this kind of maximum. Sometimes in the past, good example was the uniformity. It was, I guess, in the past. There was just in the older standards, there were just written something like 0.6, so nothing more. And later on, they changed it to 0.60, because then the interpretation frame of what is 0.6 is reduced if you have 0.6 0. Then something like this. And also the standardization is also aware of this. And if there is a fixed point, if it's clear how to round or how accurate you need to display it, then it's also mostly written in the standards.
Especially in the street standard, in the 30201, there's a special table who's actually written round the illuminance values in this style, the uniformities in this styles, and so on.
Depending on the value itself. So if it's a lower value, you have more. If you have higher values, you have less, and so on. So again, it could be complicated, but it's always good to be aware of something like this. Okay, next question from Leon. Is it possible to make IFC export in RELUX desktop? Thanks for the fun with RELUX. You make every time. Thank you, Leon.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure. It's also fun for us to be with you. And we thought about an IFC export, and it's not in the plan, but it's, let's say, on the wish list, because we are not sure today how we should do an export. So what we should keep in export. There's a personal opinion from me what it should look like. It's the original IFC, which is, let's say, stored on the side of the project and then enriched with luminas. So that would be my ideal way of IFC export. But I'm not sure if everybody wants to have this IFC export in this way. It's also possible to just export what we have into RELUX desktop. This is mainly the lumina positions and maybe the inner size, the inner space of the room. This is all we have in RELUX desktop, because we are not in BIM application and BIM authoring system where we deal to stuff in the walls or in the ceilings. We just deal with the box, with the room surfaces, and that's all. This is what we need for calculations. And so an IFC export of what we have in RELUX desktop, it's too less to call it an IFC. It's not a project. It's just what we have in our system. And this is something where we are unsure. Maybe make a couple of options that you can export it the complete way. If you have an import, so if you have, for example, if you have not an import and you want to export, what we should do, it's we can export IFC spaces because we have it, and we can export the lumina positions, but nothing more. And then you need to put it together with the original model in an authoring system which is capable to do this properly. So, but you can hear on my answer that we are a bit of unsure. It would be great to know from you what you want to have in export in detail from IFC. How much should be inside, in which way, in which structure. As more information we have, the sooner we are sure what we do, and then we do it. So it's in discussion. So we want to do it, of course, but we are not really sure what to do on this or how many options we need. So it's not as simple as this. So please tell us what you want. Maybe also here in the session, it's possible. And I got also another feedback from you, Leon. I agree with you to only place the luminas in the IFC export. So that is also the method in BIM in the Netherlands. So perfect. Then it's your answer. It's also more easy for us to be honest, just to put the luminars outside. But also, if you put the luminars outside, we need to follow the structure. So we need to place the luminars in the room and floor structure of the original IFC. Because if you're just putting geometries into an IFC export with, let's say, one big room, you need to also to fit the luminars into your original model, following the room structure and the floor structure and so on. So IFC is not just in 3D CAD; it needs to follow in structure. But this should be possible. So yeah, and really good discussion. Thanks for this. Yeah, let's. By the way, if you have some ideas or some topics for our next episodes in 2025 for Fun with RELUX, we are happy to get some. This is episode 41, so we had a lot of episodes in the past, and we have also planned the next couple of months for the next episodes. You can see it on relux.com/funwithrelux. But yeah, we are interested on what you want to discuss, or what you see on the Fun with RELUX episodes. Could be standards, could be something with lighting design, indoor, outdoor, whatever you want to discuss and to see, we can put on the episode list. Good. Then let's maybe go to another question. Can you please show the easiest procedure to create a multi-level scene? The good question is, what is a multi-level scene?
I can understand it in the way that you have, if you have open spaces on, for example, you have open spaces in some buildings where you can be on separate levels.
Different heights.
In different heights. So that the easiest way is you make one big high room, and then you put cubes in it as the for the ceilings, which are on your separate levels. In a classical building, it is if for example, if you go from Revit and you export a complete building, then you will receive multiple floors, but you calculate them separately, one floor after the other, or the rooms in one floor after the others. There's actually not a possibility for us to display the complete building, the complete house. Then you can only have only the stores or the floors in it. But I guess the question is a little bit about that you can visualize it about, because we have open spaces like in stairways, Staircases, for example, is the classical point where we need to have multiple. This is typically used by creating a high room and fill it with cubes for the levels.
Yeah. Yeah, multi-level could also be multiple, something like scenes come in my mind. So multiple level, multiple brightness levels can also be. This is something where we currently working on to allow. At the moment, you can have just one dim value in one room, but this is something we're also working on to allow multiple values in one scene of dimming levels, for example. If this is meant, we put this feature together with the spots into RELUX Desktop. So something we're working currently on RELUX Desktop is to bring in more spots options, and one of them is also to allow at least the three main categories following the spots, European spots lighting standards. So we have the different lighting classes, and normally you get this lighting classes by dimming down or switching off single luminars. And for this, we need some kind of a multi-level brightness arrangement with the same set of luminars. Yeah, this will come with one of the next versions, the spots. And yeah, multi-level can also be dimming values, not dimming values, lamp values. It's also possible to use OIMDATs with different lamps in it, with different levels of lamps or different luminous flux levels. Then you get in RELUX Desktop some kind of a table if you import it, and you can choose, and you can also change it afterwards, the lamp. Yeah, but so creating this is just use. So I guess Klaus' answer was the best regarding the multiple levels in an open space or in an atrium or whatever. In the end, it's one room you need to divide with different blocks. Good. And this is at the moment all the questions you have. So feel free to ask more questions or to put comments into it, or to just drop us discussions you want to have. If not, is also not wrong. We can also discuss what we have in our minds. So yeah, and also what is going on next. So as I said, we are working on spots. So you can you will see in the somewhere next year an RELUX spot feature. With flight scenes, for example, the 12193 standard.
Yes, it includes a little bit more that to realize the sport, we have to realize some points which are a little bit by the side. It affects not only sport, it affects also other things. That one thing we talked about is that the possibility to calculate multiple light scenes, so that we have not only one at one calculated time, we have only one result available in RELUX actually, but in the future it will also be possible that you can say various dimming situations or controlling situations inside of your project, and then you will have multiple results in your program. Another one was we would be more flexible about the standards. So the reason is to implement the sport standards in it, but also with the target that it is more flexible for new standards, more flexible for your own standards, also that you can modify standards or bring in this in a much more comfortable way as it works at the moment.
Yep. Yeah, and also this fits quite well because next year we start with the new 123. Yeah, so 12193, the spot standard. We start in January in UK to start in a new revision of it, with a lot of discussion points to change it significantly again. So spot standard is always changing significantly if we doing an update on this, and so this will be interesting, but it will take by minimum a year. So I guess it's not something for next year. It's more for 26 that you can see in draft of it or in final release of it of this spot standards. And of course, we will follow this in RELUX, that we have also applied a new standards if it's finished and discussed and agreed and published. And also we expect by next year a new 12464-2, the outdoor standards, also in draft a long time. So this should also be published by next year. So there's a question from Leon regarding the 12464-2. SB just launched, come to RELUX soon. Yeah, it's not published anymore, but it's going to RELUX Desktop, of course. If it's public, then it's also in RELUX Desktop really soon. It's not much. It's just the change is down to a table. There's a slight change, but not relevant to RELUX in the obtrusive light. There is 1, 2, 3 values have changed in the how it called in the candela values in one table of obtrusive light. The rest stays like the same, and it's just another values in the table on some single profiles. So this should be easy to adapt. And yeah, we're expecting the early this year, because the draft is long in rotations. The bigger discussions in the past in this year were about the obtrusive light in the -2. And there's a bit of a funny situation. There is a new CIE 150. The new CIE 150 has another table for the obtrusive light. So it's more extended. There is more options. It's just more on this, and the revision of the 12464-2 does not follow the completely new CIE 150, with a couple of arguments. One argument was the software is not ready to deal with this new table and this new approach. But this year, RELUX and Dialux have launched the new CIE 150 in order to be prepared also to 12464-2. But 12464-2 at the moment in the current draft has the old table of the old 150. And we have the same discussion also in spotlighting. If we follow the new CIE 150 with this new, more complex table, or should we stick to the old one? And I'm not sure if it's of course it's possible to follow an older CIE standard in an EN standard, but you should apply always the latest one. So why CIE is doing an update and do not follow it in the EN standard? So this is an interesting discussion and something which needs to be discussed and to follow it. Of course, you can also use CIE 150 directly without the 12464-2, but it's an interesting topic. So you are complied to 12464-2 without having the values to CIE 150. So interesting topic. Also the emergency lighting, the 1838 will be updated also quite soon. Hopefully, there's also a draft long in as in draft state. And most important for me itself, it's the property, the luminaire and sensor properties are now this year united on CEN and ISO level. So we have an EN ISO 7127, so in global European combined standard for lighting properties. This is perfect. And also the 13201, so the street lighting is also in update since month and will be, I'm not sure if we have it in 25, maybe not. There's also a lot of discussions, not just obtrusive light, all kinds of, there's a lot of standards. There are five standards, I guess. Yeah. And I guess the easiest one is the technical report of the one, which is, I guess, quite early discussed. But
the one is especially national actually.
Yeah, right? That's why the technical report, which is on the CEN level.
Okay. So
this is easy and fast because it's not really applied to national standards. But if you complain that the 13201-1 is national, which is sometimes painful for an international lighting designer, then you can also say there is an EN standard, but it's just a technical report, which has not the same impact on this. But there is an European ground which could be applied. And as close to the national standardization bodies apply to the TR, the more it's unified. But of course, streets are different in Europe. We have a new question. The new 12464-2, when will be at? It will be from next year, maybe as applicable. Yeah, it's always the same game at RELUX. We just putting the new standard if it's published, because we have the draft of it also quite soon. We have all the drafts from all the lighting standards and all the, but we can prepare it, but we can just put it in by publishing the standards, not to confuse, because you do not want to use a standard that's just not published at the moment. And now the -2 is not published; it's in draft at the moment. But if it's published, then it's quite soon, quite fast, also in RELUX Desktop. And on the heavier standards, on the -1, for example, we keep both states alive, that you can also jump back if you have an older project which stick to the old standards. I'm not sure how we deal with the -2. We need to check how many difference it is. If it's heavy, then we keep also the old one couple of months active till it's not used, and then we can drop it out. Yeah. Good. I cannot tell you when it is, but it's easy for us to change this. Good. And that's all the questions again.
Yeah.
And also the time is half an hour. It's okay for a session. So thanks much. Happy Christmas if you celebrate Christmas, or Happy Hanukkah, or Diwali is over. Enjoy the free time if you have free time. And if you celebrate a New Year's Eve, then also Happy New Year. And we will see us again on the on the 23rd of January. 23rd of January. We have our next episode dealing with ceilings. Also one topic which comes from you, from the audience. On 2 episodes in the past, we discussed it, and we find it interesting to go in a deep dive with ceilings in RELUX desktops. There's a lot of stuff to show and to tell and to explore. And hopefully see you then at the 23rd of January. Good. Then, thanks much. Happy free time.
Thank you.
And see you again.
Enjoy your free time and see you next year.
Bye.
Bye.